Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Outlook. I'm Tony Trungone, Superintendent of Pemberton Township Schools. This edition will be in two parts. The first part will be myself going over initiatives that we have going into the new school year, and the second half will be me interviewing our Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Schools, Jeff Havers, and our Principal at the Haynes School, Mr. Norm Adams. Now for our initiatives. Number one will be in the classroom. So we're implementing a curriculum. We'll continue to implement curriculum, this being my third year in the district. And so mathematics at grades 6 to 12. We also will continue our second year with English Language Arts curriculum in grades 6 to 12. We also are introducing a science curriculum in the elementary grades. That being said, that curriculum is a half and half blended type of curriculum with what we call pencil paper curriculum, but also with technology, which leads me to the second initiative, which is a continuation of our what we provide our students in regard to a 21st century learning environment and the use of technology. So I said it's not all technology, it's a blended approach, but that being said, our technology needs to work. And so this is our fourth year in a one-to-one initiative where our students take the devices home with them. So in the high school, grades 9 to 12, this is the fourth year where they've been bringing their devices home with them. Last year, we extended that to the middle school, grades 6 to 8, brought a device home. So last year was 6 to 12. And then this year, we'll have grades 3 to 5 have their own device. Those students won't take them home, but they will have their own device in the classroom. And just like anything, when you expand something, you have to look at the infrastructure. So just like in your house, if you were to have 30 people rather than 5 people using the technology in your house, we have to expand our infrastructure to handle all those people using those devices all at the same time. So many of our schools, all but the high school and middle school, because they were done 2 years ago, we've improved our infrastructure to handle the amount of technology and devices that are going to be used at a single time in those schools. Also, the coordination with the curriculum with the devices is another big undertaking in regards to a shift in what the classroom looks like from when we went to school. The next thing I'm going to shift to is our harassment, intimidation, and bullying. When I came here, speaking to parents, they had an issue with having a safe and orderly learning environment. They wanted to make sure the schools were safe. And so we implemented procedures and policies 2 years ago. Last year, I got the data back. We see marked improvement, and we're going to continue improving in how we respond to any incident, but also what the remedies are going to be. What are the consequences? How do we communicate that to our parents, but most importantly to the students about their actions? From if you were affected by it, if you were bullied, or if you were the perpetrator. And so we have to do a better job on the second part of that process now, not just responding, but also how do we create a resolution to those matters. So I'm real proud of the work we're doing in that area. Moving from harassment, intimidation, bullying to safety and security, in a previous segment, we had Mr. Press, who was our supervisor for transportation, speak to us about a GPS system on the bus that allows him to know the location of the buses, but also the speed of the buses, when the buses are starting and stopping, and also an inventory of how buses are checked for safety pre and post trip. So I'm real impressed with that system and the deployment of that system. And then Mr. Bowen, our Director of Security, or our Chief of Security, spoke about burglar alarms and alarm systems that are being deployed in our schools, and also a panic alarm in case there is an emergency. It directly goes to the police. And then also the camera system. We know that our middle school and high school had a rather robust camera system, so we could tell what's going on in our schools at the middle school and high school, but we only had about 4 cameras in each elementary school. So we beefed that up and added more cameras at the elementary school inside, but also we have a license plate identifier at the school, so if somebody drives by the school that shouldn't be, it'll identify that license plate and then let us know if something is not so good. And then the middle schools. We split the middle school up. So we have a new principal at Helen Fort, Ms. Tammy Streggy. at 7 and 8 at Helen Fort, and then across the street, we have Miss Ashley Walulak, who is the principal at Newcomb. And so Newcomb is 6th grade, will continue to be 6th grade, and Helen Fort grades 7 and 8. And finally, the new school that's being built on the Dembo Creighton complex, well, actually on the Creighton, where Creighton was. This is an 8-year process, so the state decided to build a new school for us 8 years ago, and we just started physically with those plans this past summer. And so we have to make plans in the interim because it's going to take 3 years to build this school, and it'll be grades pre-K to 5. But in the interim, the students at Creighton had to go somewhere in the interim for those 3 years, and we spent a great deal of time and effort creating an optimal learning environment at Haynes School. And that's what the following segment will describe, all the facets and initiatives we have at Haynes to make sure the kids are provided with the best learning environment possible. So stay tuned for the next segment.
Can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me something. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Welcome back. One point of interest in the previous segment, I mentioned the Dembo Creighton complex and the new school. One thing I forgot to mention is the fact that it's being completely funded by the state of New Jersey, a brand new school, pre-K to 5. But in the interim, for the next 3 years, our students from that Creighton school will be relocated into the Haynes complex. So we're here at Haynes School, and my company today is Mr. Jeff Havers, our Assistant Superintendent for Pre-K and 5, and our Principal, Mr. Norman Adams. Good day, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you, Mr. Chandler?
So we're here at Haynes, and I got my first question, Mr. Havers. Why are we here?
Well, we're here because, as you said, this is a project over at Creighton Dembo is being fully funded by the state. Originally, we had talked about knocking down both schools and building on the site at the same time. And we were really scrambling to find a location for both schools. We talked about splitting up different grades at different schools. I visited RCBC campus in Pemberton multiple times. We looked at that facility. We were concerned about safety. When they gave us the cost, that really precluded us from using that facility. And unfortunately, the state finally said that they're only going to need to build on the Creighton site. So the state told us that we could keep Dembo there, but we needed to move our Creighton students.
Okay. And so is there any big concerns right now?
Yes, there were a lot of concerns. There were concerns last year and now. The concerns that we had, of course, is moving an entire school from one location to the other. We had to figure out a location for preschool, which was not too big of a deal, but there was enough classroom space here. We had to contend with the playground. We had to talk about rival dismissal procedures. We had to look at what type of enhancements do we need to make the Haynes School to make it a primary school, to make it an elementary school. And then finally, we needed more classrooms. We needed additional classrooms so that we can take care of our specials and our academic mastery and our speech and our OTPT.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Havers. Mr. Adams, I'm seeing we're hopping into kindergarten.
Yeah.
This place is sparkling.
Yes.
And so my first question for you is, can you provide me with some of the tasks have been completed to get the school looking like it is?
Well, first, let me just say that this has been a collaborative effort unlike anything I've ever seen. The faculty at Creighton really, pulled together to make the move as smooth as possible. All things considered, the custodial and maintenance staffs have just really done a tremendous job with basically, transforming the building that we're standing in into a facility that is conducive to our youngest learners. The classrooms have been completely transformed. and equipped with all of the learning materials that we had grown accustomed to over at Creighton. Everything was brought over here. The technology in particular, the IT department did a tremendous job with making sure that all of the classrooms are equipped with computers, smart boards, and/or interactive projectors. So all of those 21st century technologies to which our students had grown accustomed to at Creighton are now here. Every classroom is also air conditioned.
I bet you that's tops of the list, right?
Yeah, there are many, many people that are appreciative of that. So our students will be comfortable during those warm weather months. The gymnasium has just been completely redone with a brand new gym floor that's going to make gym class and lunch and and any activities we do in the multipurpose room more comfortable and in an environment that is conducive for our young learners. The playground, all of our playground equipment has been brought over, so we really have all the comforts of home as we knew it are now here. So again, we are really looking forward to the students coming in. We're looking forward to the parents coming in. In fact, we had a very successful open house for a couple of days where parents just kind of came in and did a self-guided tour, and naturally there were the normal questions, of course, and that was expected. But overall, people are pleased with what they're seeing.
Great. Now I see you're dressed for work.
Yeah.
So
we still got a few things that need to be done.
Well, and we interrupted you from your work, so I'm glad we're taking the time to do this.
Okay.
But what other things need to be completed? What things need to be completed in the next couple of weeks or couple months?
Well, right now we're still in the process of constructing supplemental instruction services in the area behind the gym. We have our academic mastery offices, with our reading people, art, music, our PT, OT. All of those spaces are still being constructed. So
Okay.
so that's ongoing. We're still awaiting the arrival of 2 new TCUs from the state, where we will have our library, where we will have rooms for our specials, our Spanish, our technology enrichment. So in the meantime, those educators are going to have to take their show on the road, basically, and work with the classroom teachers.
And that's
in
that
those
point you made.
instruction
That point you made about that cooperation from your staff, because
Yes.
until those so every classroom is completed, right?
Yes, all the classrooms are completed and we're ready to go.
But yet these ancillary or these supplemental classrooms
Yes.
aren't completed yet.
Right.
So how do they complete their day?
Well, you know what? We're fortunate to work with a wonderful group of professionals who understand the situation, and everybody is very amenable to making sure that the students get what they need. So if it means that a teacher's classroom needs to be utilized for a special during that teacher's prep, the teachers understand that, and everybody's been very, very cooperative.
How long will this be? It won't be all year.
No. It shouldn't be all year. The projections that I'm receiving are around the 1st of November.
Okay.
So
it's the first 2 months of school then?
Yeah, just for the first couple months of school.
Okay. So, Mr. Havers, I hear some beeping out front across the way here, the main entrance. It looks like they're doing an archaeological dig. What's going on out front?
Well, it's not an archaeological dig, Mr. Trangone, but we did have steps there. The steps were covered by rocks, and one of Mr. Adams' concerns when we talked about using the space was for that to be the drop-off area. Our young students would then have to traverse over the rocks and over those old steps and come over. So we are renovating that area, making it flat, putting a sidewalk there, and also adding an awning, so that if there's inclement weather, our students could get out and not have to worry about rushing and hurrying up, and they can take their time and come over safely.
When's that going to be done?
Probably in the next 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. And I commend you both for, I know it might seem obvious, but to look out for our scholars, our young scholars, and make sure their arrival and departure to school is safe every day, and securing that safety. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
I want to close it out with you. Any information you would wish wish to convey to our parents and learning community?
Well, you know, we are very excited for the opening of the new school year. We have Meet the Teacher on Wednesday, September 6th, and we're looking forward to seeing all of our families out. That's starting at 2 p.m. And then the first day of school is Thursday, September 7th. And there's a lot of changes as we've discussed, but one thing that has remained consistent is our commitment to providing the highest quality learning experience for our young learners.
Great to hear.
Yeah. So, you know, despite all the changes, as our theme says this year, everything is awesome at Haynes School.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. I'm excited. I use the word excited a lot, but you have me excited. Mr. Havers, thank you for your work too.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Havers. It's a pleasure.
There we go. Teamwork. The name of the game here at Pemberton Township Schools. So everything is awesome, and I look forward to seeing you next time at Inside Outlook. Thank you.